Hey guys, welcome back to True Crime with Shannon, where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Well, it's hard to believe that it has been 19 months and a day, or as of today, 580 days since this little girl, Summer Wells, went missing. And what's even sadder is we really don't know any more than we did a few months after the entire case happened. I'm going to play real quick a bit of a video from News Nation, and it was 5 months into the investigation of missing Summer Wells. And let me tell you, there's not much of a difference 19 months later.
We begin with new details and new interviews on a case that we have been covering extensively here on News Nation Prime. 5-year-old Summer Wells has been missing for 5 months. Her parents say she vanished within minutes from their home in Rogersville, Tennessee. But months of searching have come up empty. There have been no new leads and no evidence, not even a sighting of Summer. And suspicion has started to turn to her parents, Don and Candace Wells. They have been adamant that Summer was abducted. But tonight, the sheriff on the case says everyone is a person of interest. Correspondent Brian Enton is live tonight in Tennessee, where he spoke with Summer's dad in his first interview since he appeared on Dr. Phil. Brian.
Marnie, you know, we've talked about this case, we've covered this case, but to be on the ground here in Tennessee, you realize right away just how complex it is. All of the different personalities involved, and just the mystery that this little girl, 5 months later, is still missing. Flying into Tennessee, we weren't sure what to expect. Summer Wells has been missing for 5 months. No new leads and basically no new information since the 5-year-old vanished from her Northeast Tennessee home.
I can't find her. They've been yelling for her. She's been gone for about 10 minutes now.
Summer's been missing since June 15th, and there are definitely some people who are not happy that we've come here to dig into the case. Some people on social media basically just telling us to stay away. But there are still so many unanswered questions about where Summer is. It's now been 5 months since Summer Wells disappeared. Do your investigators know anything more now than they did 5 months ago?
We really don't know anything more, but everything's still on the table.
Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson is in charge of the investigation.
And again, this was 5 months later, and now we're 19 months later. Sheriff Lawson has the same replies. They don't know. Everyone's a suspect, and they still don't know. Everyone's still a person of interest and a suspect, pretty much. And that's just really sad for this little girl. Let's continue to watch.
Everybody that's involved in this case is a person of interest. We've not ruled anyone out.
Summer's dad, Don Wells, agreed to meet with us. We talked to him on the edge of his property, where Summer disappeared. What do you think happened? What does your heart tell you?
Well, I know in my heart and in my mind she was abducted. Someone snuck up there when we weren't exactly paying attention, and we don't know if they come in the basement and grabbed her, or if she stepped outside the basement and was walking to her swing or something.
You can see the Wells house up through the trees on the hill right here. Summer was home with her mom, Candace. Her younger brothers and her grandmother was also on the property. And what the family thinks happened is that someone took Summer, brought her down this steep embankment to possibly a car that was waiting in the roadway.
And I said, boys, where's your sister at? Well, she just went downstairs, Mom, to play. So I went over here like this.
Summer's mom, Candace, allowed podcaster Chris McDonough with the interview room into her home in July.
Is this how I would get down here?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if you want to come down here or not.
They went downstairs in the cluttered house and into Summer's bedroom.
But this is where Summer and little Waylon was.
This is the back door Summer may have disappeared through.
But I know I did come out here and I said, Summer. Because Because sometimes she'll sit right here.
Do you think Candace would speak with me?
I don't know. I mean, we had to beg her, you know, to please go on Dr. Phil, because she's just so been burnt thousands of times by people. So that's why she don't want to talk to nobody, and she didn't want to go on Dr. Phil. That's why she was getting upset. Because of the way the YouTubers and other people have turned on her, they've just ruined her.
I'm very sorry for the occasion.
The Wells were on Dr. Phil last week, and at one point, Candace walked off.
I'm being interrogated again, and I don't want to do this anymore. Yes, I am.
We'll stop. I want you to feel comfortable.
No, I want. Oh, and I want to go home.
I'm down.
Questions have come up about what Candace might know.
Could she have gotten herself into a situation where it wasn't her fault, but...
No.
You know what I mean?
No. She's a good mother. She loves her children. She's not going to allow any situation like that. The biggest mistake she might have made is maybe choosing some wrong friends, which is, you know, it happens. But
I don't know, Don. Is Candace a good mother? Summer has been gone. As of this interview, 5 months. As of right now, 19 months. And the 3 boys, they're in foster care. Neither one of you has these children. The state questions your abilities as parents and guardians of these children. So I gotta say, I'm not so sure that Candace is a good mom and you're a good dad. Sorry, that's in question, Don. It truly, truly is.
other than that, no way.
Do you think any of those wrong friends could have something to do with it?
We don't know.
I know you all have had some ups and downs in your past with alcohol and drugs. Do you think one of those people that came around could have?
No, we can't go there.
Wells says he's limited in what he can say after social services took Summer's 3 brothers from the home earlier this year.
Would you mind just quickly maybe taking us for a little drive around? Just me,
Sure.
even, just so I can. I know you don't want me up there walking around, but maybe you could just drive me around.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Sir, thank you,
I appreciate
guys.
it. Thank you.
Guys.
He initially agreed to take me on the property, but then changed his mind. He says he wants the focus to remain on Summer and finding whoever took her.
We love our daughter with all our hearts. We miss her. We'd do anything to have her back in that church with us that she so loves.
The sheriff says the Wells are cooperating, but that there's no evidence at this point that Summer was kidnapped or abducted.
Is it possible?
That's because I don't believe Summer was abducted or kidnapped. And I'm not the only one that believes that. There's just no indication that someone took that little girl, at least not that someone took her without Candace and or Don knowing about it. And I still am leaning toward there was an accident that happened and it was covered up. Or, you know, maybe as Don said, she's kind of run into some bad friends, Candace. So did between her bad, quote unquote, bad friends, not so great friends, and his friends, did something happen to Summer because of that? See, those to me are the 3 potential what happened to Summer. I believe it was an accident that got covered up. You know, Candace, granted, somebody accidentally hurt her or, you know, what have you. Or she was taken because of a bad, quote unquote, friendship. Those are basically the reasons I think that Summer has been gone.
That Summer's parents, Candace and Dawn, had something to do with this, or have you ruled that out?
We haven't ruled anything out. Everything's possible.
And right now, detectives say they are looking for a red or maroon pickup truck that may have been in the area around the time that Summer Wells went missing. But even the sheriff today said they have no confirmation that the truck was actually there. They're not even for sure it is definitely connected. There are so many pieces to this puzzle they just haven't figured out yet. But another interesting thing, Marnie, he did confirm for me today that both of Summer's parents did pass a polygraph test.
Which is something I know a lot of people have wondered. Brian, the sheriff says everything is on the table. Everyone is a person of interest. They are not ruling anything out. So one theory out there is this thing called the cornbread mafia that we're seeing a lot on social media. What is it? What's the sheriff saying?
So the cornbread mafia is sort of rumored to be this underground mafia network in this area of drug dealers and people who pass drugs around and that kind of a thing. The sheriff says he's not totally aware of it. The Wells family says they had never even heard of it. But what was interesting on Dr. Phil is when it was brought up, that is what sparked Candace Wells to have that emotional moment and walk off screen.
So you got to wonder. That's why I think that it may be drug related. Did Candace or Don owe someone money? Like I said, the cornbread mafia, ever since the whole Dr. Phil thing, that has been something that's remained in question. That's another rumor, speculation, however you want to put that. It was odd that Candace freaked out at that particular question and of everything else, but there may be something closer to the vest having to do with maybe not the cornbread mafia, whatever that is, or maybe it's too close to the truth, though. Maybe someone did take Summer because of a drug debt or because of some other debt. And that's like that question was just so close to the truth. It freaked them out and they had to, she had to leave because she can't keep their story straight. And that's another thing. It seems like they're trying to keep some story straight, and that's been trouble too. Grandis couldn't keep it straight, and of course she took out of there like a bat out of hell when she had the opportunity in her little trailer. And of course, Don just recently got out of jail. So from what I hear, he's back on Ben Hill Road, and I believe he has romanced Candace back to Ben Hill Road, and he's hoping to get the boys back. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, Don. I really, really don't. But at this point, the whole bottom line is we need to find Summer. And let me go through some of the other pieces here. Again, the really sad thing is you can go back through what we know of this timeline from, June of 2021, and there's just not a lot of change. And to me, that's just incredibly, incredibly sad. And it's like from the time that Brian, Enton was there, the time that the interview room, Chris McDonough was there, it's like time has stopped on Ben Hill Road. What secrets are being hidden on Ben Hill Road? And here is some of the radio scanner, the traffic scanner from when Summer Wells was reported missing. And this is them trying to coordinate all the assistants, and it's real interesting if you hadn't heard this before, or even if you have now that it's 19 months, since this all happened, and it kind of brings back, what happened on the day that Summer Wells was reported missing. So let's check it out.
Tonight, the radio scanner traffic from emergency dispatchers the night Summer Wells disappeared. Take a listen.
Keeping around from 110, 110 Ben Hill Road off of Beach Creek should be the first residence on your right. Reference to a missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in, advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home. Now they can't find her. They've been yelling for her. She's been gone for about 10 minutes now.
Again, audio from police scanner traffic that evening. Dispatchers referenced Summer Wells as a 4-year-old. We now heard that correction the following day that, in fact, she is 5 years old.
All right. Now, they're advising that Candace had went for a walk. And there was also Some mention that she went for a run. Candace is not an active person. The only way she went for a walk or a run was to get cigarettes, probably drugs, alcohol, something to that effect. Candace doesn't purposely exercise. There's just no way. And as far as them saying that she's been gone for 10 minutes, I think it was far longer than 10 minutes. Because Candace and Grandis had sent the boys to look for Summer. And if they believed that someone had abducted Summer, why would she send the 3 boys out by themselves to go look for their sister if there may have been an alleged abductor out there? That's a little odd, in my opinion. And also, what were Candace and Grandis doing during that time? Apparently, Candace called Dawn during that time. Now, she claims that she called 911, but there was a call from Dawn, also, Dawn was supposedly at work during this time. And then later on, first Candace claims he was at work, and then she said, well, I don't know where Dawn was because we don't have that kind of a marriage. So, like I said, there's been constantly some inaccuracies in every time Candace and Dawn tell their story, specifically Candace. It's never exactly the same story. You know, the basic, we were planting flowers and the whole, day situation. I don't even know if I believe all that. But the fact that she was gone for 10 minutes as they advised 911, I believe it was far, far longer than 10 minutes. Now, was it an hour? 2 hours? That we don't know. I believe it was definitely more than 10 minutes, though. Let me know what you guys think about that. I mean, there's just no way it was 10 minutes. I don't believe that for a hot second. Not even remotely. At all. So, this is part 1. There is a continual, obviously, on this one, but you can kind of get the gist of what lead investigator Detective Pruitt what he thought of all the social media folks and everybody who is trying to help find Summer. And yeah, so let's see what Pruitt had to say during this interview a bit after Summer went missing.
Well, today, for the first time, we are learning the lead investigator in the Summer Wells case is speaking out. The pressure has been immense on the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office to figure out what happened to a little girl who reported missing back in June.
Ansley Daniel has been following this case closely. She has an update. Ansley?
Josh and Sarah, there was frustration, some anger, and the presence of a heavy burden when I sat down with the detective John Pruitt with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office. He's led this investigation into Summer's disappearance. He told me that as difficult as this case is to work, he is nowhere near giving up.
It is a lot to shoulder, it's a lot to burden. We have a missing child that we haven't found yet.
Almost 10 months and so much heartache. And investigators aren't immune from that hurt. The question of what happened to Summer Wells still has no answer.
There haven't been very many cases like this. I have never worked a missing child case with all these different entities and agencies involved.
The lead investigator on the case says his days are devoted to finding her.
My day, I check tip line and voicemail when I first get here. I do phone calls and follow-ups on any credible leads I've got. I follow up on anything that I didn't get to a good conclusion the day before. Then I go into my normal caseload of any new cases I've got, follow-ups on them.
They've received nearly 2,000 tips.
I will follow up on everything I can to try to bring closure for this.
Self-proclaimed online investigators and social media sleuths have turned this case into a mess of ideas. And tips have come in from everywhere across the U.S. and even overseas. That help, Pruitt says, has led to little more than time wasted.
If these people want to help so much, we always accept applications to certified individuals.
Hey, Detective Pruitt, how about y'all do your job? Because we are not police. And granted, okay, all right. There were, at the beginning, it was quite a circus. I'll grant you that, Detective. I really will. I'll grant you that. But your job and Hawkins County's job is to find Summer Wells. And the only way TBI is going to do more for you is if you ask them for help, because they cannot step in unless you ask the TBI or the FBI to do more, because Hawkins County is in charge of the case of missing Summer Wells. You've got Michael Vaughn missing out of Fruitland, Idaho, and that department has come a lot further in the search for little Michael. And they have a federal investigator sitting at their offices there in Fruitland with them all the time. And Hawkins County could have the same kind of support if they ask for it. The problem is, you guys have so much going on, and your chief, his son's been in trouble of recent. So there's just too much going on in Hawkins County inside of whatever's going on politically, whatever have you, that the sad thing is the search for this little girl is falling through the cracks. And that's not fair to Summer Wells or any other missing child that may need your help at all. It's not fair. It's not fair to them at all in Hawkins County. If you guys can't do the job, don't ask social media to do the job for you. We're happy to spread the word, spread Summer's face constantly. We've done the same thing for little Michael, Monkey Vaughn, and the rest of all these children. We all want them home. But our job is not to go out and investigate and search for these children. That's your job. And, like I said, if you guys need the help, please ask for it. Leslie from TBI and the rest of them, they're all more than willing to step in further. But sadly, you're not asking for the help. You're not stretching out your arms for them. So I hope that changes, but 19 months in, 580 days, it's not looking like you guys are interested in truly finding Summer. I really hope you guys prove us wrong on that, because here on my channel, I know I want Summer found, and a lot of other people do too. Summer was the first case I covered here on the channel, and I want this little girl found. I mean, I would love for her and Michael and Oakley and all these other kids found alive and well. Sadly, we all know that's just not that's probably not going to happen in most of these cases, but we want these babies to be found. And I'm out here doing my part in keeping Summer's name, Summer's face out there. And the mainstream media, obviously, as soon as the spark goes away, it fades. So, why don't you work with, social media and mainstream media, because mainstream media is what's going to keep it going. Why don't you work with everyone to help keep this face out there, and then continue your investigation and get the help that you need? But sadly, I think that's going to go on deaf ears. But I would love to see my thoughts on that go be proven wrong. So maybe Pruitt and Hawkins County will prove me wrong on that. So we'll see.
He says the investigation has led to the continued thought that if Summer is found, it will be nearby.
I believe that she would probably be somewhere close by, because we found nothing to lead us to believe that she's been abducted or trafficked out of the area.
Pruitt works alongside the TBI and FBI. Along with the ground search, Pruitt says investigators have poured through data. Almost a year into the case, and Detective Pruitt says it still remains a very active investigation.
I'm not going to let it go cold.
Has it gone cold? I don't know. We haven't had an update, a press release, anything from Hawkins County in months. And I'm about to play the last time we had a press conference regarding the search for missing Summer Wells. So this was 7 months ago. This is Leslie Earhart, and she's going to speak as TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. She's going to speak about what's going on with the case to find Summer Wells. Again, this was 7 months ago. This was the last update of any kind that we've gotten officially out of Hawkins County.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Leslie Earhart, a Public Information Officer for the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Before we get started, I want to stress that the investigation into the disappearance of Summer Wells is very much active and ongoing. Please understand, in order to preserve the integrity of the investigation, we simply can't speak to specifics. We appreciate you being here today and your continuing coverage of this case. At approximately 6:30 p.m. on this day, 1 year ago, Summer Wells, who was 5 years old at the time, was reported missing from her home in the Beech Creek community of Hawkins County. When we held the first media briefing on June 16th, honestly, we expected to have good news to report by the time the next media briefing came around. Unfortunately, instead, day after day ended in frustration and disappointment. At that time, no one expected that we would still be searching for Summer 1 year later. We've said from the beginning that this case is outside the norm. There are few clues as to what happened to Summer, despite investigators doing everything within their power to find answers. All possibilities are still being explored. Many of you have asked for details about what's been done over the last year. I can tell you agents and detectives have spent thousands of hours on this case. Numerous search warrants have been executed, cell phone data has been analyzed, and any other available digital evidence has been collected, searched, and documented. This includes the social media accounts of those associated with Summer. 3 large ground searches have taken place in the last year with the assistance of more than 100 local, state, and federal agencies. Those searches do not account for the numerous targeted searches done by agents and detectives as they were following up on potential leads. From TBI alone, more than 100 agents, intelligence analysts, and support staff from across the state have been involved in this case. TBI agents working alongside the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI have conducted nearly 170 interviews during the investigation. That does not count the hundreds of phone calls made to follow up on tips reported to law enforcement. While investigators have been diligently working to find answers, they've had to deal with thousands of tips generated by false information that in some cases has been intentionally spread across social media platforms. We know that this case has attracted the attention of individuals across the country who genuinely care about Summer and want nothing more but to help us find answers. We appreciate those people. However, we are also aware that there are some people using this case for their own personal gain by spreading false information on social media posts as facts. Some go as far as to solicit donations. This has had a major impact on the investigation and not in a good way. Moving forward, we ask the public not to submit tips as a result of a video they viewed on YouTube or a theory they've seen posted on Facebook. Please help us and only call if you have direct, specific information about the disappearance of Summer. This investigation weighs heavily on us all, and I can promise you that no one wants answers more than we do, and we are not going to stop until we find them. I'm going to turn it over to Sheriff Ronnie Lawson.
Okay, before Ronnie Lawson gets up there, I did want to say I do agree with the previous clip. I wanted to say I do agree with Pruitt that she is close to home. Something happened to her, and I don't believe she was abducted either. Um, as far as the rumors and such, we all know again how rampant that was the beginning. And there was a lot of YouTubers that were all over the place. And it's sick. It happens with a lot of these big cases, these big, publicized cases. I mean, it happened with Kylie Rodney, and heck, right now it's happening with Idaho. But the fact of the matter is, most folks are not going to know what happened that day on Ben Hill Road. The only ones who have any information are going to be Candace Wells, or Bly, as she's still not referred to, her mom, which we call Grandis, Don Wells, regardless of whether he was at work or not, or wherever he was, and potentially the three boys, and possibly Hunter, who was with them that day, supposedly. I think it's a very small group of people, the family and close folks there, or maybe some of the neighbors on Ben Hill Road. I don't believe that it really goes much further than Ben Hill Road. And sadly, Candace, I believe, has a lot of answers. And then we got Grandis, who took off, and she's God knows where right now. I mean, but she took off, like we said, and she's somewhere else. And Candace, for a long time, she was all over YouTube, talking and drinking and talking away. And now, like I said, Don's out of jail, and he's now offering. He wants all these people to, he's asking YouTubers for help. And Don, YouTubers, while we can help spread your beautiful daughter's face out there, her name and all of that, we're not the ones who are going to help find Summer and get the answers. Okay? The answers are going to come from your home and from Hawkins County. You need to talk to the guy we're about to hear from next, Sheriff Ronnie Lawson and his team and Detective Pruitt. Those are the people that are going to get the answers for you. And if you truly don't know, again, you need to be working with Hawkins County. That's the bottom line, Don. And by going out and asking all of us to help, we're more than happy to spread the word about Summer. We've done it from the get-go. But we're not the ones that are going to help bring Summer home. That's going to be law enforcement. All right, let's hear what the sheriff had to say.
Good morning. As Leslie mentioned, we didn't expect this case to be going on a year later. It's heartbreaking to me and my officers and the entire community. We've never stopped looking for Summer. We will continue to do so. There's never been a case in the history of Hawkins County Sheriff's Office that had officers working 365 days and had so many hours spent as we had in this investigation. Also, this office has never utilized so many different local, state, and federal agencies from across the state. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and the Federal Bureau of Investigation assist us in every step of this investigation. As you heard Leslie say, thousands of hours have been invested in finding Summer, thousands of them. 170 interviews have been done. Many of these individuals have spoken to more than one time. While we haven't said a lot about the details about the investigative actions that's taken place, please know that we've never stopped. I deeply appreciate the many rescue squads, the EMAs, and the volunteer fire departments for their help. And the support from the citizens and the communities of this county is just unbelievable and overwhelming with the encouragement we get with the food during the searches we've done, and all the law enforcement officers and agencies throughout the state of Tennessee. It's just phenomenal how everybody pitched in and helped us with these searches and with this investigation. And many of you have asked why that we didn't recruit private citizens to assist in these searches. With the extreme dangerous terrain that we were experiencing in searches, we were able to monitor each group and movement in their location. That way we knew that everybody came back to the command post safely. After the initial searches, then we had to go back and obtain the landowner's permission to search again. We could not allow or even grant permission for private individuals on these people's property. And while I can promise you that we will continue to conduct target searches in the Beach Creek area as new information is developed, we'll also continue to follow up on any legitimate leads. And it's been the goal of this team since day one to find Summer. We've never stopped, we've never slowed down, we deal with it every day. And that's the whole purpose of this, to let you all know, despite what you hear, what you see, we haven't stopped. The men and women of these agencies have worked tireless, hours and hours and hours, and I commend every one of them for the job they've done, and we're going to continue till we find Summer.
Sheriff, I would like to ask you one thing. If you guys are still committed to finding Summer Wells here in January 2023, where's the updates? Where are our current updates? Is Detective Pruitt still working this case daily? Is he looking at the tips all the time, like he stated 7 months into her disappearance? Are you guys still working with Leslie and the TBI and the FBI? If you don't want to provide a media presser, what about a press release? I think that we need some sort of an update from Hawkins County. At this point, 580 days and going and counting, that this little girl, Summer Wells, is missing. She's gone. We have no answers. And if you guys are still as dedicated as you were 1 year ago, well, at this 1 year mark, at this 1 year mark during this presser we just watched, I implore you to put up a press release, like, soon. And I'm working with everybody else. We're all hoping to try to get major media, try to get News Nation back out there, some of the other ones. We need to continue to keep Summer Wells in the spotlight. The same thing goes with Michael Vaughn and the rest of these babies. Harmony Montgomery. These babies deserve justice, and they deserve answers. And the fact that we haven't had an update since June of 2022, official update from Hawkins County, that's just not acceptable. We deserve one, and because all of us who are out here, we want justice for Summer Wells. So, yeah, I want to hear what you guys have to think. And if you were with me on this, please share her poster out there, share her picture. Let's start tagging, Hawkins County. You could share my videos. So I really would love Hawkins County to see it. I'm a small YouTuber. I said, I'm not out here to do their job. I just want to bring, this face out there and get her some justice. I mean, she deserves it. If we don't follow up for her, if we don't speak up for Summer, who's gonna do it? I mean, like I said, Don seems to have come out of jail with a renewed quote unquote passion. I don't know how true that is. Because I gotta say, I mean, I'm not saying Don isn't dedicated to his children. I'm not saying that at all. I don't know Don Wells and I don't know Candace Wells. But it's just, we've all been advocating for her, and as a public who has continued to spread the word for this missing baby, I think, we all need some updates and some more answers. And if they don't have any new news, like, which is what we're suspecting, because like I said, I played all these pieces of video because this is all we know. We haven't heard anything different since June of 2022, and we're in January 2023. What is the status of the search for Little Summer? That's all we need to know. Granted, if they say there's not much going on, but we are continuing to work on it, if you are truly working on it and you still have no answers, wonderful. Okay? Because we know that Fruitland is very, very, very dedicated to finding Michael Monkey Vaughn. And we're gonna get some more information on that at the end of the month when Sarah Wandra goes back to court, hopefully. And they provide pretty regular. I mean, we don't expect an update every few weeks or every month. But June to January, 580 days, guys. 580 days that this baby has been missing. Let's all help keep her face out there and get some answers. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, feel free to share this. You know, if you don't want to share a poster, tag it all over Twitter, Facebook. Like I said, you're more than welcome to tag this video and share it with the mainstream media, News Nation. I love News Nation, so I mean, I would love to get them further back on this, and I'm hoping it's on their radar again. There's a lot going on in the crime world. I understand that with all these missing babies and these sad big cases happening, but we cannot forget about these guys who have been missing for going on 2 years before we know it. I don't know about you, but I don't want to wait until June 15th of 2023 for another update on Little Summer Wells. Okay, guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day. And if you hit that like button on the way out, it helps this video continue to travel through the YouTube and hopefully get some more attention. And please leave me some comments. I know a lot of you guys are still out there that are advocating for Little Summer. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I would love it if you would. We're so close. I think I'm about 30 subs away from the 1K mark as I record this video tonight. So I want to be able to do more for these missing babies and all this. And I'm able to do that with you guys' support. It's free to subscribe and check out the videos, and it's super, super appreciated. Okay, have a great rest of the day, guys. And most of all, stay safe.